Google is offering free AI training and tools to U.S. small businesses so they can innovate in ways both big and small. Built by Google experts, the Google AI Professional Certificate equips small businesses with practical AI skills. Through hands-on projects, they can start using AI to get more done and unlock new opportunities for their business. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at grow.google/business.
This summer, Prime Video takes you back before Legally Blonde, before law school, and into the world of Elle Woods in high school. Set in 1995, this Gemini vegetarian knows exactly who she is until her family moves from Bel Air to Seattle. Packed with iconic fashion, 90s nostalgia, and a throwback soundtrack, Elle proves one thing. Law school was hard. High school was harder. From the world of Legally Blonde, watch Elle, a new original series only on Prime Video. Watch now.
Morning decisions. How about a creamy mocha frappuccino drink? Or a sweet vanilla? Smooth caramel, maybe? Or a white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Find Starbucks Frappuccino drinks wherever you buy your groceries.
I've been in a condition of doubt. I don't know if I'm in it or out. Don't say that I disappoint you. All of the reason, maybe we both expect too much. Made a storm that we can't contain. I'm over being accused and blamed. After the rain and the thunder, out of the darkness, I see light shine down on me. Oh, set me free. A star with no name fans the flame, and my world is changing. Star with my faith, got no shame, and all vows are tested now. In denial, guided by a star with no name who finds the flame. Getting tired of losing.
What's shaking, everybody? It is Jay Scott. It's the Hook Rocks, the ultimate rock community podcast. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate you listening. As always, we are part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, great network of music-related podcasts. Check out Pantheon Podcast at pantheonpodcast.com and on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pantheon Pods. Check out the Hook Rocks on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Hook Rocks. Don't forget to set your app to automatic download so you get the latest episode and all the previous episodes we've done before. We're approaching our 4-year anniversary, and we're approaching 500 episodes. So we've been doing this for a bit now, and appreciate all of you and appreciate what we've been doing for you. And please write us a review and let us know how you feel about the show and what we're doing. Always appreciate that. We've had some great episodes recently. We just welcomed Baz from Massive Wagons, the great band from the UK. Probably the premier, or one of the premier bands in the UK right now. Prior to that, we had South of Eden on our latest New Music Spotlight. The boys are gearing up to release a new EP. Had a chance to listen to it. It is incredible. So excited for that as well. We also did Rush Exit Stage Left on our live quarterly album review with the Recidivists. We welcome Chris Tapp from the Cold Stairs. They just released a new album, Voices, this past Friday. So check that out. One of my favorite bands. One of my favorite guests as well. It's the third time Chris has been on the show. I think his first appearance was October, November of 2019. Great story, extraordinary guy, incredible music, the Cold Stairs. So check out that album. It's incredible. It's called Voices. We also talked with Austin Mead, Abby Kay, Dead Blonde Stars on some recent new music spotlights. We're gearing up to do a few more of those. We had Rick Nielsen and Dax Nielsen from Cheap Trick. And we talked the live entertainment monopoly of Live Nation and Ticketmaster with Christine Eagle, our music business insider, and what's been happening with the Senate hearings. And hopefully more will be happening because it needs to be fixed because the fees are getting out of control and the way Live Nation and Ticketmaster manipulate the markets in the initial sales of tickets in the secondary markets is just, it's criminal. And hopefully there's a resolution here. It takes Washington a long time to do something, but the fact that they're aware, I guess, it's a positive thing. The fact that they're going to do something is still up in the air and questionable. So we will see. We'll follow that story, and we will bring you updates when we do have an update. And we did the Ozzy Osbourne legacy with one of my favorites, Sydney Taylor, who is on tour with the band right now that I'm going to talk about in the show that I'm going to talk about. It was a pleasure meeting Cindy at the merch table on Friday night at the Arcada Theatre in St. Charles, where I had a chance to see the Winery Dogs. It's the fourth time I've seen the Winery Dogs. The first time I saw them was at Dirty Nelly's in Palatine. I think that was one of their first shows. And then I had the chance to see them at Reggie's, I think on the same tour later on that tour. Maybe it was vice versa, though. Maybe they played Reggie's first and then Dirty Nelly's second, now that I remember. I think Mike Portnoy announced the Dirty Nelly show at Reggie's. So I think that's correct. I think Reggie's was first. And then 4 years ago, got a chance to see them at the Arcada, and they were back at the Arcada. And let me tell you, I have never seen this place as packed as it was. It was completely sold out. I just saw Orianthi there a few weeks ago, and nice crowd there, good crowd. But, man, there was not an empty seat in the house at the Arcada in St. Charles, Illinois, which is about 30, 40 minutes outside of the city of Chicago. I had the chance to talk with some of my favorite followers, members of the Groove Council that we do. I know I've mentioned the Groove Council before. It is a online group that we DM each other on Twitter about new music and new albums that are being released. So everybody kind of stays up to date on what's coming out. And saw one of my favorites, Rob, who does our audio episodes, our audio expert on the Hook Rocks. He's at Skylab Tapes. Saw High Stick Mick at High Stick Mix. It's HISTICKMICK. Great dude. Had a pleasure of getting to know him over the last couple of years. USA and Chris. That's at USANA Chris. Great dude. Saw him at the Orianthi show with John Corabi and also at the Buddy Guy Leone Kilgore show and at the Jared James Nichols show. So every show I've seen this year, my buddy Chris has been there, and always enjoy that. Always enjoy seeing him. Also saw Steve Hild, or Hild, I think his last name is pronounced. Forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. He was there with his daughter. He's a great follower too, at Steve Hild. That's HILD, or Hild, as I said. So follow all those people. I went to the show with one of my longtime friends, Brent, who I've known since first or second grade. I used to play Little League Baseball with him, and we've gone to a lot of shows over the past year and a half together. We kind of reconnected as a result of this podcast. So one of the most enjoyable experiences that I've had doing this podcast is reconnecting with a young friend or an old friend like Brent. So we all got to the show. We were all there, and we all experienced greatness. Greatness. Wow, wow, wow. Every time I see this band live, it is an experience. And I know I talk a lot about the bands I've seen live and the good ones. I always mention Blackberry Smokes, great Southern rock band who's incredible live. The Winery Dogs is a different ball game. Great live band. Just the musicianship is top of the food chain, folks. Mike Portnoy on drums, Billy Sheen on bass, who you know from the David Lee Roth Band and Mr. Big, and also Sons of Apollo, who Mike Portnoy is also a member of. Of course, Mike Portnoy, the great drummer from Dream Theater, and Richie Kotzen, who can do it all: sing, guitar, piano, keyboards, you name it, he can do it. He's got a great solo career, just fantastic music on that end of his career, and the Smith Kotzen collaboration, which I believe he did a couple of years ago. All that stuff is phenomenal, but Winery Dogs is just a special thing. When this band first came out, I didn't really know what to expect. Portnoy had done some projects after leaving Dream Theater. We know what Billy Sheehan brings to the table. And Richie was kind of an unknown. He had a solo career that was gaining traction in Europe and the UK and South America. He's also done a lot of stuff in Japan as well. But in the States, in North America, he didn't really connect with a lot of people, didn't really resonate with a lot of people. There could be many reasons as to why that is. The current state of rock and roll over the past 2 or 3 decades has been pretty cookie cutter, and Richie's not cookie cutter. So when this band came out and, Richie was part of this group, the gateway to me getting introduced to him was through Eddie Trunk, as we all know, who really promoted the band and promoted Richie and really kind of hung his hat on Richie Kotzen, how great he was and how awesome he was. So that was 2013 when that album came out. That was 10 years ago. And I had a chance to talk with Richie in January about the band and about his career since then, and about how it's opened up a lot of doors for him in terms of touring in America with a solo band, which I saw at the Arcada Theatre this past summer. His solo band is absolutely fantastic. His solo music is incredible as well. But I've really taken to Richie over the past 10 years in large part because of the Winery Dogs and because of that debut album, where I think I've got every solo album of his in the catalog, or in his catalog. Smith Kotzen stuff, also some of the other collaborations. I know he did an album with Mr. Big after Paul Gilbert left. Of course, everybody remembers him in Poison. But he's so much more than that. It's unfortunate, but people still ask him questions about Poison and about that brief moment in his career. And I guess for people who are not doing the research and not knowing a lot about him, that's where they first go. But as I said, check out his solo music. He's got an incredible catalog, very soulful R&B-esque rock type of music. He's got so much depth to his playing. Absolutely incredible. And of course, Mike and Billy, what can you say? Again, all three of these guys are top of the food chain. They're a 3-piece band. And one of the things that I keep saying, others keep saying when they see them live, is how are 3 people making the music and making themselves sound like this up on stage? And that's called musicianship. That's called being experts at your craft, because they just deliver every time you see them. You just shake your head. You get wowed. It's a very incredible experience. It's hard to put in words how good they are and what you will see. I don't know if there's a word in the dictionary that can accurately describe how incredible, how awesome, how phenomenal this band is live, this band is in general. Be thankful that you are walking the earth while this band is making music. Know how lucky you are that in the history of this planet, you are living at the moment Winery Dogs is making music. Because it is a thing of beauty. And if you have not seen them live, they are touring now, I think through end of November through the States. I think they go do a run in South America and a run in Europe, I believe, and maybe the UK. Hopefully they'll come back. I think Richie mentioned they'll probably be back at the end of the year doing another run. But it is a special thing, man, to see them. Every time I've seen them, they're better than the previous time. And this night was no different. Seeing them live and seeing them perform and doing what they do and how great they are. The show started with Gaslight and Xanadu off the latest album, Winery Dogs 3. Great way to get the show going. The crowd was so reactive. It was an old school crowd, man. People were standing up through the whole show. I sat down briefly during Billy's bass solo because, at the age of almost 50, I need a little break. But it wasn't because I was bored. It was because I needed to sit down because it was like an hour and a half at that moment of me just standing up like I was 20 years old again, rocking out to this great band. But it was an old school crowd, man, in terms of just the energy and the synergy with the crowd and the band. It was almost like we were the fourth member of the band that night, which is pretty special when you can experience it. The crowd was roaring, singing along to the songs. And to have that reaction to a rock band that came out 10 years ago with band members that are all over the age of 40, maybe even over the age of 50 at this point, to have that experience of a band that really wasn't big when this type of music was having its heyday, the height of its popularity, tells you everything you need to know. That this band is connected with an audience and has grown an audience that they don't have any legacy history, so to speak. Each member has legacy history with other bands, but this band in general doesn't have the history as some of these other bands that come through that were big in the 80s and 90s and making music, making good music. This band is relatively a newer band, 10 years old. So to have a crowd that is connected with the music like we were on Friday night with the Winery Dogs, that's a special moment. You can't discount that at all. It was beautiful to see, especially the first two songs as the crowd roared when they came on stage. I think almost the band was, I don't want to say shocked, but probably welcomed the surprise of how engaged the crowd was. I think they really enjoyed that because I think it really upped their performance, improved their performance. Their performance was absolutely incredible, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I think a lot of times bands feed off the crowd, especially musicians that have been around for a bit who get that extra charge. This show is not like the other shows kind of thing where, man, the crowd is really here to kick some ass as they're there to kick our ass with the music. So it was a great push and pull between the audience and the band. And being that it was sold out, being that it was hot as fuck in that theater, was great. It was awesome. On to Captain Love, the song off the second album, Hot Streak. Love this tune. Just a great vibe, a great riff. Then that power chord that Richie hits in that beginning of the song. It's just in the breakdown with Billy and then into Richie and Mike's playing. Second to none, man. This song just rocks. Probably my favorite song off Hot Streak. Then the title track of Hot Streak was the next song, Into Desire, off their first album. This is a song that they usually played at the end on their first couple of tours, but it was at the front of the set, which was really cool to see. I mean, Richie does some wizardry on the guitar work in this song, and the band just feeds off of each other. They complement each other so well. And I think that has to do with the fact that they know each other, they like each other, and again, they're top of the line musicians, man. They can play with anybody, but they really do a great job. Billy and Mike just nail it. And Richie can kind of go and freelance a little bit too, because they've got everything locked down on the back end. And it kind of gives Richie a little bit more freedom to kind of do what he does. Breakthrough, which is a song off the new album. Great response to this song too as well. And to Time Machine off of the first album. This is a song that was left off the import version, which I think Criminal was the song that was on the Japanese version, and Time Machine was on the US version. Great song. Has a very little bit of a Alice in Chains type of vibe to it, but it's a great song. Stars. Let me tell you about Stars. If there was ever a locomotive on stage at a concert. It was Friday night during this performance. Billy and Mike killed it on this song. So much so, I turned to my friend during, midway through the song where they're just driving this beat. You can hear the song on the new album. And I go to my friend Brent. I go, it sounds like a fucking locomotive. Sounds like a fucking train. It was just so powerful. And Richie's doing his thing in the song, and they're just holding down that rhythm and the back end and the rhythm section of the song. It was for me, probably the highlight of the show. That song needs to be the next single from this album. I love the song on the album when I listen to it. Live, it's a whole nother ballgame. Incredible. They went into Damage, which is off their first album. And I believe this is one of the songs that Richie brought to the sessions during the first recording. And if you remember with some of the interviews that he did, there were a lot of songs that he had been working on, he brought, and Damage was one of them. Again, it has a real R&B flair to it that really separates this band from these other super groups that come out. Because Mike and Billy can do anything, right? I mean, they can play prog, they can play rock. They've proven to do that over their careers. And Richie was kind of the unknown, but Richie brings that R&B flavor to the music, adds a lot more depth to what they're doing. And when you hear other super groups that are out there, because they are considered a super group or a super band, there's no one else that does what they do. And they all add their elements of their musicianship to the sound. But Richie brings that little bit extra, that little bit of difference that none of these bands can do. And Damage is a perfect example. And even in the next song, Mad World, which is on the new album, Winery Dogs 3, again, has a real R&B, bluesy, soulful type of vibe to it. And Richie does bring that to the band. So that really does, in my opinion, separate them from a lot of these other super groups that are coming out. The Other Side, there's the next song into Billy's bass solo. Just a great moment. The Other Side goes over so well live. It always has. Is a song, again, that really comes to life live. And the album really doesn't do it justice. The Red Wine, which is off the new album, Winery Dogs 3. I'm No Angel, which was one of the big songs off their debut. And Oblivion, which is off of Hot Streak, which was a great way to end the show before the encore. Really resonated with the crowd. Crowd was really into it. And the roar of the crowd got him back on stage, as it normally does. And then we got Regret, which I think is their best song off their debut album. One of the best songs they've ever written. Just a great tune. Goes over well live. Richie starts playing the piano and then into the guitar solo and to the end of the song. It's got a really old school R&B flair. I know I keep saying that term, but it does. It just is what it is. I mean, how can you deny it? And Regret is just an old school rhythm and blues ballad that talks about the pain of ending a relationship. And then the end was Elevate. 16 songs total, plus the bass solo of Billy Sheehan. Elevate was the song that introduced fans across the globe to this great band, and they delivered. Great way to end it. The crowd was thoroughly satisfied, I will say, and it was just a great, great experience to see them once again. They are a band that you must see. If you are a rock and roll fan and you want to see great music and great stuff, Winery Dogs. It's all about the Winery Dogs. It's great to see them again live. They did a tour 4 years ago, which was just kind of getting out and playing. Didn't have any new studio stuff to really promote. So they just did a short, I think 2-month tour. Maybe it was just even a month. And then, of course, the pandemic really kind of slowed things down. This album, I think, was recorded a year ago, or almost a year ago, and it wasn't released till this past February. And if you haven't gotten the album yet, if you haven't streamed it, if you haven't bought it, I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't know why you're allergic to great music. This is something that you must have. This is a must album to have this year. All their albums are great. You must, if you're a serious rock music collector and music fan, there is no excuse for not having this somewhere in your catalog, whether it's on your phone streaming or buying it physical copy. I'm a little surprised they don't have a vinyl, and hopefully that's coming. I would love to see them release a vinyl. I would love to see them repackage all the albums on vinyl with different colored vinyl. I think that would be so kick-ass. You have the crowd that will buy it because of Billy and Mike, they bring that progressive audience to the shows. Those people will buy stuff. Those people are known to buy anything they can get their hands on. Collector's items, vinyl, CDs, whatever. Prog fans spend money. At least in my experience of knowing friends that are progressive music fans, that you walk into their man cave and you're like in a museum of music. So hopefully that comes. I'd love to see them release some really cool vinyl, repackage the first and second one, and put those out on vinyl too as well. I'd probably get every color scheme that they had because they're that good. But this is a special band. Mike Portnoy, I will tell you, sounds better than I've ever heard him. It just sounds incredible. The stuff he was doing behind the kit. He's been incredible every time I've seen him in whatever band he's been in. But for whatever reason, on Friday night, it was coming over loud and clear, and you could hear him hit every drum and every beat. And it was just incredible what he was doing. Probably, in my opinion, the best performance I've ever seen him at. Not just with Winery Dogs. And then, of course, Billy. Billy is an institution. I mean, there's no one that sounds like him. There's no one that can do what he does on bass. He's the bass player, but he also is like a de facto rhythm guitarist. Because of what he can do, again, it allows Richie to do a lot more. He gives the band such a full sound. And I know there's people out there that like to criticize him and say he overplays. He doesn't overplay. He plays like Billy does. That's his sound. That's his style. That's what he does. As great players always have done, whether it's Geddy Lee, whether it's whomever. They have their distinct sound, and he has that. And of course he's going to showcase his style and play how he knows how to play, because that's what he's doing, right? So I never understood that criticism of him. I think it's really unfair that people say that. Enjoy him. Enjoy him and Mike as incredible rhythm section. Just zone in on them a few points during the show. And you're just shaking your head like, this is not fair. This is not fair to anyone else that's playing music right now, what they can do and how tuned in to each other they are. It's just, there's no words. In Richie, what he does with the guitar and his voice, he is a complete artist. I'm so glad that I got into his solo stuff. My friend Crash Crafton is a big Richie Kotzen fan. Shout out to Crash. And even though Winery Dogs is my introduction through Eddie, his solo stuff was really introduced to me by Crash. Crash is really the one that exposed me to his solo stuff and made me want to hear his solo albums. And I'm thankful for that too. I know Crash has interviewed him a couple of times on Legendary Rock interviews. He's done a great job. He's the one, I believe, that broke the story about Richie potentially being in Ozzy Osbourne's band, or being in Ozzy Osbourne's band after Zach, I think it was. And it blew up on the old AOL chat rooms, and they ended up not going with him because of the criticisms that Ozzy fans were giving Ozzy because Richie was in Poison. Absolutely ridiculous. Now looking back at it, they didn't realize what an incredible guitar player was. And because of, at the time, Poison carried a very negative tone with hard rock and heavy metal fans, they couldn't see the talent that Richie has. So I think he broke that story. And I know people have tried to piggyback off of that and talk about it as it's their own story. But I believe Crash was the one that really did that. So Richie is a special musician, as Mike and Billy are. And if you get a chance to see Winery Dogs, go see him. But if you get a chance to see his solo stuff when he comes through, and buy some of his solo stuff, like 50 for 50, which was his latest solo stuff. Obviously, the Smith Concert with Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden. But some of the other stuff that he's done with his solo career is just incredible. 24 Hours is a great album. Peace Sign is a great album. There's so much stuff. Just go stream it, buy it, whatever. Go see him live. Go see Winery Dogs live when you get a chance. You can visit their website at winerydogs.com. Tour dates are up. I think they're hitting the Midwest right now, and I think they're going to go down south here and then back up on the north, up north on the East Coast. Once again, it was great seeing Sydney Taylor work the merch table. She's always a great guest. We just did a show on the Ozzy Osbourne legacy. Absolute great person, sweet person. So it was great to finally meet her face to face. And of course, my boys, High Stick Mick, USA NA Chris, Skylab, Steve. It was great to see everybody. I'm starting to see a lot of familiar faces at these shows who, because of the podcast, who know me because of the show. So it's always great to interact with people and talk with people. But yeah, they killed it on Friday night. What an extraordinary show. Go see him. This is Jay Scott. Hope you enjoyed the review of the Winery Dog Show. Take it easy. We'll talk soon.